black metal bands really use the straight black and white imagery. Again, that goes back to, if you look at the early Bathory albums and the early black metal album from Venom that are black and white, And I think it kind of cuts it down. There's nothing flashy about it. It says, it's a bold statement, it's saying, we don't, basically, fuck you, we don't care what you say, this is how we are, this is what we're about.
I think that because the whole brightly coloured sort of thing became a very death metal thing in the early 90s, of these brightly coloured, sort of gory, fantastical images, and a lot of the black metal was a reaction to the way some of the death metal had gone in the 90s, because they felt they'd lost the whole point of what really is death metal, i.e. death obsessed, or whatever, or morbid, crude music.
We sing in Norwegian and also English. Some songs are suited for expressing things in Norwegian, and I'm sure lately we have more or less used English because mainly because our base, or the people we are presenting our ideas to, is a worldwide audience, and it's better to present ideas in a language people can relate to than using Norwegian. But Norwegian is more natural for us, expressing some kinds of atmosphere. It's hard to express everything in English,
Well, we used to sing in Norwegian, and we on the Monumentation album we wanted to try out. We just felt that the music fit better with the English language, like the international thing, And we just continued because it worked for us. So it actually feels it's very strange, but it feels more natural to have lyrics in English. Actually, it's easier to sing English than Norwegian. The articulation is pretty difficult with that type of vocals that I'm using.
Seems to be this kind of like the elitism.
Oh yeah, we have rituals where we actually sacrifice black metal albums from memory.
I don't think it should necessarily be frowned upon, because there's a lot of really good American black metal bands.
I don't think they do. They don't do that in Norway. Everyone is listening to any kind of extreme metal, death metal, black metal, whatever.
To be honest, some of the really classic bands came out of here. I mean, Morbid Angel, for God's sake. D-Side. I mean, you can't take that away.
If you take a Norwegian band, after a few weeks, these bands will get signed and get CDs everywhere. But all the other countries, mostly, will have to go on mutating, evolving to something really complete before being exposed to the outer world. And I think this is one of the main differences between all these countries.
The second wave black metal was a very European thing, and you had the Greek sound and the Finnish sound and the Norwegian sound, and it was German bands and Swiss bands and that kind of thing. And it did seem to take a lot more time to catch on in America, because the people there seem to be much more interested in death metal and that kind of thing.
If you create a light, the shadows will always be something secondary from the light, And the Norwegian bands in the beginning created the light, and the other things will just become shadows of it,
Well, black metal in America, I guess it started up a couple of years later than the European Norwegian black metal, and I'm really not that familiar with any black metal acts from the States, but I guess some of them are copycats. I'm not mentioning any names.
I really don't think there's much difference between the two, really, other than different heritage.
It was very hard for French bands to export. But this was really good for these scenes, because being kept cloistered has made all these bands going to something more harsh and more extreme all the time. There were no commercial purposes, and so these bands are nothing else than pleasing themselves, pleasing the master.
the beginning, black and death metal were more or less the same thing, and then death metal became bloated and fat on MTV Money and major labels, and it left the what a lot of me, and I included at the time, thought left behind a lot of the ideals that we thought were death metal, which was death metal is the back of 7 churches by Possessed, and that's it. You don't stray from the formula.
Merry fucking Christmas! Kill your fucking grandma, bitch!
That death metal thing, and we had our own theory, like, it should be possible to play the riffs, for instance, on synthesizer or cello or whatever, to fit to a horror movie.
There are mainly two kinds of death metal. One which is mainly from the beginning of death metal, which is this kind of very violent and satanic death metal with bands such as Dayside, Incantation, Beast Warders. These bands are really